I've been on a health kick lately with the wedding and then just realizing it was time to start eating better in general, which is why I love Washington red raspberries. They are clean, simple, and a seriously delicious way to add more nutrition to your day. Whether you're trying to clean up your snacks or build better meals, they're American grown, picked at peak ripeness, and frozen within hours to lock in nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and vitamin C. And they have no added sugar. Just fruit as nature intended. Instead of my typical breakfast sandwich, I've been doing a red raspberry smoothie, and it's been an excellent source of fiber because, fun fact, raspberries are one of the highest fiber berries. Want to discover new ways to use American frozen red raspberries and get more details on where you can grab a bag of these delicious berries? Go to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find recipes, health tips, retail locations, and everything you need to make frozen Washington red raspberries a regular part of your routine. And don't forget, look for Product of the U.S. on the bag. Some of my favorite products made with Washington red raspberries are Costco Kirkland Signature 3-Berry Blend, True Fruit Hyper Chilled Chocolate Covered Raspberries, milk or dark, or Smucker's Raspberry Jam, peanut butter and raspberry Uncrustables.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, friends.
Welcome back to another episode of Dateable. A great one.
It's always a great one because I just had a piece of chocolate.
Ooh.
I'm feeling great. I'm on this dark chocolate kick. I have one at night and then one in the middle of the day. It's like such a treat. It's so good.
I am obsessed with chocolate, but I feel like I had so much for the wedding because we had all of the Ghirardelli chocolates in our welcome bag and we had like leftovers.
Oh.
So I've been eating a lot of chocolate.
Speaking of sweets, your dessert spread. Nice surprise because we didn't get to taste all those desserts. The cake was so good.
It was so good.
Everything else, like the pot de creme, like that and what did I remember? There was like
there's a cheesecake. Yep, and then
the cheesecake.
Peach cobbler.
Yes. So good. I'm still dreaming about that.
Good.
The
That's
cake
what I like
was
to
so
hear.
good.
Oh my God, the cake was so good.
It was like, what was it?
It's cafe au lait.
Oh, I've never had wedding cake that tasted like that before. Usually it's just like a pretty standard flavor and it's fine, but this was chef's kiss.
So we were supposed to have 2 flavors, but it kind of got messed up. But it's okay.
What do you mean?
It was supposed to be raspberry and vanilla also, and then the cafe au lait, but it was just all cafe au lait.
Oh, so the cake maker just did one flavor?
Yeah. But it's okay. People didn't notice, and there were a lot of other desserts. The only thing is my husband hates chocolate, so...
Is there chocolate in cafe au lait?
Yeah, like all of it's chocolate-based. Like the cake was chocolate. Anyways,
no.
It's all good. But
he had the cheesecake.
Yes,
there was
all
other options.
Backups, which was really, really nice.
Yeah. Our friend G, after she tasted all the desserts, she like ran over to me. She's like, you got to try it all. It's all so good. Don't just stop at the cake. You got to do it all.
Oh my God.
Like,
I love it. I love it. I think like these like little memories will be fun to hear in subsequent times. Like little things like that.
Right. With every meal, people remember the dessert the most. It's the last thing they have.
That's true. So, I'm glad. A lot of people told us it was the best wedding food they've ever had.
The food was very good and the dessert was phenomenal.
Park Avenue. I'll give them a shout out. They were really good. That's their name. They did not do the cake, so I won't. They were not the ones that messed up the cake. The cake was very delicious. Else. Yes, I don't want to throw her under the bus with that, but and she did make good on it too, which was really nice.
How many cakes did you taste?
Oh my God, so many. It was really hard to find one that I liked, which is crazy because I feel like I love cake, and maybe that's why. It's like the bar was higher.
Yeah, turned out great. I did not miss the second flavor because I didn't even know about it.
Most people didn't. Yeah.
Nobody knew except for you and your husband.
That is very true.
Back into reality from talking about dessert. We are talking about something. This is a pretty sweet episode in itself.
That is true.
The topic is probably very relatable. It's about dating emotionally unavailable people, but the learnings are quite sweet and the lessons are sweet.
Yeah, and this is one of it's your man friend's friend. Is that the connection?
Yes. They're kind of like coworkers, they work together. Yeah.
Okay. Like coworkers. Okay.
Ish. Yeah.
But she was great. Her name is Drea. She also, what is her podcast? Because you were a guest on her podcast also.
Yeah. She has a podcast called Hey Babe, Can We Talk? Where she gets honest and raw about everything related to dating, love, dating your 40s. So she has different guests on, but she also shares a lot of her own experiences.
Yeah. And Yue was like, she has quite the history that she could share of just dating that Mr. Unavailable, that unavailable guy that, you know how it kind of like, I know I had this pattern. It was like the same guy in a different body, in a different face. Mm-hmm. But the patterns were the same each time. And just like I don't know, I guess like it always felt like I was like pushing against a wall to like get them to like open up and want to like do things and be with me and have a relationship. Like I was always like pushing upward. And that feeling of being with someone unavailable, and then that feeling of like, okay, well, I met someone new, they're not the same, and then the same thing happening. I just remember that cycle so well. Like I remember like when my, on again, off again ex, like I remember the first time he like ended it with me. And my first reaction was like, I can't believe this is happening again. Like that was my reaction, because it just felt like compounded from like all these other experiences.
It's that feeling of being with someone who's emotionally unavailable, but at the same time, they give you these nuggets of hope.
Yeah.
So you feel like you've earned, like all the different little bits of love along the way. And that's what kind of Drea talks about, is you feel accomplished for every little love interaction they give you, every little praise, every little compliment, every little reciprocated action. You feel like, oh, I earned this, because that's how she felt love was, that it is something earned. So she followed this model until she realized, this is not serving me. I am just following a pattern. I'm following past trauma. I am replaying the same scenario over and over again by choosing people who are, to no fault of their own, emotionally unavailable, but I am choosing to be in this cycle.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up though too, because like I think like when you're removed from it, or it's not you, it's a friend that's going through it, you're like, it's so clear that this person is not available and not interested. Like, why can't you just walk away? But when you're in it yourself, I mean, they're clearly like telling you some stuff. It's not like they're just like, I don't like you, I don't want to be with you. Like they're giving you like crumbs, and they're telling you like, the sweet stuff and all the things that are like keeping you hooked in there, but they're just not giving you like the full pie, right? It's like they're giving you a little, but not all of it. And I think like in my own experience, some of it, like Drea, like I don't think I knew what the whole pie looked like. So I thought that was like normal. And I was like, oh, this is just like how it is. This is a relationship. And then like you step out and you're into a different one. You're like, no, this is not normal. No. This is not okay.
Oh, I know that feeling. I have a friend who I no longer talk to. It's been years, but she's been in this thing with someone who just cannot be available for her for a decade now. It's going on its 10th year now. And every time he breaks things off with her, she'll come to her friends and say, it's over. It's definitely over. I choose me. I choose better. And then without fail, after 3 months, he'll come back and say, you were the one that got away. You were the best thing to ever happen to me. I miss you again. I mean, imagine having this happen for a decade. So even as a friend, I think to some extent, I want to be there for someone who experiences that, but she's choosing to be in that over
Right.
everything else. And so as a friend, I'm like, I gotta just let this go. This is totally out of my wheelhouse now. And she's making these decisions on her own.
Right. And when I was in that cycle, luckily it didn't last a decade. It
Yeah.
did last a while, though. I think, though, half a decade. Almost.
Yeah.
But
half
it's
the
like,
time.
I think what is so hard about it is when, like, you want it so bad, and then someone comes back and they tell you they can give it to you, but then the actions, like, no fail. Like, it was like this cycle. I remember just being like, you know, everything would be great for like a month. And then it would just like fall apart again. And it definitely took me getting to the point to be like, I am closing this book and this is over, because I feel like if I never did that, it would just keep cycling probably to this day. Like I can see how things, you know, can last a decade. And it's not like a decade straight, obviously, but like when someone comes in and out of your life, it's easy to kind of lose track of time.
And then we wouldn't be talking about the amazing cake you had at your wedding because you'd be stuck in this on and off
Do
cycle.
it for the cake. Yeah.
Imagine if you're in this situation right now, you are standing in the way of this amazing cake you're going to have at your wedding.
Cafe au lait.
But in all seriousness, it is true. Think about like what is getting in your way. And a lot of times it's being in the cycle. And what I've noticed with people when they're in the cycle, because I was here too, you elevate the status of the person who's doing this to you because you feel like you have to earn their love.
Totally.
And then everybody else you meet on apps or people introduce them to you, you're like, ew, no. Right? Like my friend that I no longer talk to, but she's always like, oh, I would never date that guy. Or no, I would never consider that guy. And I'm like, why? Because he's actually interested. But she was so picky outside of this person who was not serving her or their relationship. And she would always just be like, no, this is not for me. And then run back to this terrible, terrible situation.
Well, I think it's like if you believe that that person is like the one, even though they're unavailable, they're showing no signs of it, you might as well not be dating either, because like no one can hold a candle to them. And I think like, you know, sometimes though, I do want to like give everyone grace, including myself at one past part of my life. It does take a while to untangle them. And Drea even talks about this in the episode, is like when you realize it's not right to when you make that final action, sometimes it takes time. So I'm saying that like to have grace with yourself if you're like, God damn it, I wish I didn't waste 2 years of my life or however long that was. Sometimes you just need to go through it. Like that's just the reality. And for your friends too, I remember it was weird. I remember like simultaneously going through it with an old roommate. Like she was dealing with the situation and I was at the same time. And it was kind of like surreal doing it at the exact same time because you're like, I can see it on you, but I can't see it on myself.
Oh, it's so wild.
Or like you can see it on yourself, but you just can't make the move. Like I think that's what it is. It's like you're not oblivious. Like you realize like it's not a good situation. I think everyone can know when, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say like everyone can know, because I do agree like sometimes you only have a model of love that you are aware of. But sometimes you know when it doesn't feel right. Like you know when you feel anxious or like you feel like the other ball's going to drop at any moment. Like you know that. And I think though the catching up with the feeling in your brain, like that's the part that's like uncycling out of like that definition that you believe is love.
The cognitive dissonance we experience when we go through something like that is you're convincing yourself that your situation's different. Even though you saw what you're going through, you're like, no, but there's more here. Or like we said, I love you. And that, you know, you start making all these excuses or looking for evidence that your situation is different. This is more special. And then when you pull yourself out of it, you're like, okay, yeah, that was the exact same pattern. But it is also important, as Drea talks about too, once she got out of this pattern, is not to blame the people who were actually very honest with her about their limitations. It's not about blaming them or playing the victim, but to take accountability for, okay, that's what I chose to happen, and I'm going to not choose for that to happen again.
I mean, I think that's the real game changer, is like when you start to like be like, what is my part in this? Why do I keep having this pattern of attracting this unavailable person? Am I being unavailable in some ways? Am I running from my own self? Like, I've talked about this before. I feel like for years, like, I was like, well, they're the ones that, you know, couldn't commit. They couldn't do it. So it was never, like, in a way, it was like less vulnerable because it wasn't like someone getting to know me in a way. Like, if you were always choosing people that were unavailable or had limitations of why they couldn't be in a full-blown relationship or commit to something, you never had to look inward of like, what was your part? It was always about them.
Yes. When you are hungry, you're always going to be thinking about food. But once you're fed, you start thinking, oh, is the temperature enough? Is the temperature good for me? Do I like where I'm staying right now? Do I like the lighting in this room? It's like when your bare minimum is not satisfied in a relationship, that's all you can focus on. And I still remember for you in your off and on relationship, you always focused on your memories at the Fairmont during the holidays. Like, you would always bring this up, like, this is one of our favorite things to do is like going to the Fairmont.
Right, it happened like once.
But you're like, it's so festive. It's like one of our favorite things. And I remember feeling like the special feeling that you had too, like, oh, I think this is like a special person. But now when we talk about this, it's like, you can have that memory with your husband and it'd be 100 times better because he actually wants to commit to you.
Right. I think though, like this, I don't know, it's funny because you said like when we were comparing like my situation to my roommate, I'm not even sure if it was like I was thinking like mine was like different or special. I think some of it was like I just wanted to like hang on to this idea of being with someone. Kind of like overcame everything else. And I think this was the achiever in me and dreamer too, that it was like if I like admit defeat on some of these, then it says something about me, where it really didn't, because a lot of the people in my life are still single 10 to 15 years later. So clearly they just didn't want to be in a relationship. And again, okay. But I think for me back then, I took it very personally. So it was like holding on to that a lot. Like, I think sometimes I knew deep down, or like, I don't know, it's like I either knew deep down that it wasn't right, or I thought like love could conquer all type of thing. Like I thought it could change. I think it was like being naive, wanting to fit in with people and talk about someone and feeling something that maybe you hadn't felt before, but that doesn't always mean that it's like reciprocal. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of reasons why you can be prone to unavailable people. And I think sometimes too, maybe it's the hard look of like, am I actually ready? Like looking back to when I was going from unavailable to unavailable, maybe the reality was that I was also unavailable.
Yeah. You could be unavailable. You could be not ready. You could also be in a mindset of wanting to achieve something, like you were saying. And then this is the person that happened to be there. Like they're just so many ways of looking at this, that Drea also, through therapy, through self-reflection, looked at the multiple ways that she was brought up and how her relationship with her father really fed into this. But what I absolutely love about this conversation, that you all will as well, is that she says, yes, that is my past. That is my relationship with my father. But I have the power to change it all. This is not the way it has to be forever. And I'm going to change it.
I think that is definitely the message. And, you know, people always say, well, my history, I always attract the narcissist. I always attract the unavailable people. And that can stop today. Like that's the beauty, is like, we don't need to keep attracting these people. It's who you choose at the end of the day.
Yes, it is in your control. I wish we could send this to my friend. Maybe she's secretly listening. I don't know. I really do hope so.
I mean, I think sometimes it just takes like people being on their own path, and it's like, it's hard to watch a friend like get hurt over and over and over again. But what I've learned is like people will get there eventually if they're meant to, and you can only do so much as a friend too.
Yep. And sometimes it is letting go. of
Yeah.
that friendship. But we're not
Okay.
letting go of this friendship with
No, we're
Drea 'cause
not.
she's
Or all of
awesome.
you. We are here. We are ready. And we're ready to dive into why do we go for unavailable people and how do we break the pattern?
Ooh.
Okay. Another way to break patterns. Pick up how to be dateable. The
I'm like,
best
what?
way. The best way to break the patterns. You know what we actually found out recently? We have actually sold, I think it just edged out more copies of the audiobook than even the hardcover.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Like it just surpassed it. So if you haven't gotten the audiobook yet, definitely get it. And also if you've gotten the audiobook but not the hardcover,
Get both.
they're a different experience, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's why, I don't know, we're seeing it in both directions, but I mean, it makes sense. We're a podcast. I get it why people would do audiobook. I think just in general, people are doing audiobooks a lot more.
It is. People do. But imagine if you had friends come over, you can't show them what you're listening to on your phone.
Well, that's true.
Right? My friend loves displaying her book on her coffee table, even though she's married, because, well, the title, people go, what? Why are you reading this book? And she said the color really complements her decor. But I think it is a great coffee table book. It is something that will solicit conversation, and people will be curious to know why you have this book.
That is for sure. We also need to get back to reading some reviews next episode. So I guess this is the call out. If you haven't yet, leave us a review on the book or DM us. Ideally, leave a review so other people can see it too. But we also love getting the DMs and emails of how has this book helped you look at dating differently? Or even better yet, if you bought it in January when it came out, what's going on in your dating life right now that's different?
Yes.
Tell us. This is the fun part about doing podcasts and writing books is it's very like in your own world. Like we don't have that feedback loop all the time. So we just absolutely love when we get it and we hear from all of you.
Yes. Tell us. Spill all the tea about your love life.
On Goodreads, no, just kidding. On
in public,
Amazon,
on Amazon.
You can leave the review and then give us the details in DM, whatever you want to do. But yeah, you don't have to leave a public review of your dating life. Awesome. Okay, well, before we get into it with Drea, let's hear a message from our sponsors. Okay, let's hear it from Drea about breaking the cycle of dating unavailable men.
Do you often feel like you're unconsciously seeking the unavailable type and you don't know how to break the pattern?
Everyone's screaming, yes.
That's me. That is me. Our guest today, Drea, is going to share her experience of having a pattern of dating the unavailable type and how she's dating differently today. Welcome, Drea.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be on.
We are so excited to have you. This is such a relatable topic that I think a lot of us have had experiences on. So maybe we could start just with your relationship history. Like you said, there were a few experiences that led here. What were kind of like the overarching similarities between some of these experiences?
Well, I think even before I got into relationships, it started with, like family stuff, straight abandonment with my dad. And then, now me and my dad, we have healed our relationship, but like that wound of let me go struggle to get love started really early on when I was 7. And my first boyfriend, amazing, great, lovely. But there was something in that relationship that didn't feel right subconsciously. Like I didn't know that. But later on, I dated my drug dealer boyfriend in college and I was like, ooh, this feels like home. Like it was tough. I had to work for it. It was hot and cold. He completely dysregulated me and it was familiar. And so that kind of set a path of just complete dysfunction for a really long time in my life. And so if anyone showed up completely available, I didn't understand that. I didn't recognize it. There's like self-esteem stuff that goes in there. And then also, again, that subconscious tape that's playing in the back of my head that if you're giving it to me easy, it doesn't make sense. You got to struggle. You got to work hard for love. You got to earn it. So if someone shows up and sees me, I'm like, whoa, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why are you seeing me? Because I don't see myself. So I'm only going to date
Yeah.
what I already believe about myself and from my history.
When did you come to this realization?
Honestly, Yue, I think maybe the seed was planted about 10 years ago. That's when it was like planted. And then over time, through different 12-step programs and therapy and all these things, I watered it. And it really came into fruition like a few years ago where I was like, wow, this is really terrible. And it was my last long-term toxic boyfriend that I was with for 4 years. And within that relationship, I started to see myself, and then I started to see what all my friends were seeing. I mean, he was just a beaming red flag in every possible way when I met him. But I think at the point that he met me, I was so tired of dating. And he just kind of kept showing up, and he'd started doing the thing of like fight or flight for me. And I was like, oh, this is perfect,
Right.
you know, and had a lot of trauma himself. And I wanted to fix. I was going to make this man love me. That was my mission. And everybody saw the writing on the wall, but I did not until later. And towards the end of that relationship, I was like, dang, what am I doing? Like, this is just not working. And something in me woke up. But that wasn't the end. That was just the beginning of me wanting to make those changes. And that was about, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh my God. I think we can all relate to being the fixer. I mean, at least I can. I've definitely been like that before, because you're like, oh, this person, they're so great, but they have this one or two things that aren't working out, but I can change them. I can make it, like, with enough love, they can get there. Like, did you have any of those moments of thinking like love is all it needs? Or like, what was kind of your thought process, even though you saw some of these red flags at the beginning?
I mean, it's interesting. The thought process in the beginning was just, I wanted to say I had a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. I got tired of going to like the events. They're like, oh, are you here by yourself? You're going to find him,
Right.
And the ironic part is like, I couldn't even bring this guy to events. He was like a raging alcoholic and was like calling me, not calling me, all over the place, and that was the funny part, was like, I could barely get him to show up.
But yeah, at least you can say that you have someone.
At least I could say my boyfriend's calling. You know what I mean? Like, he's at home. My boyfriend's at home. And it really was that simple for me. I just wanted to say that there was somebody there. I didn't really care about, now when I date, the things that I ask and the things that I'm talking about, it's so different. Like values. What do you want out of life? Do you have a plan? And not in this interview question way, but like, it was as simple as he's cute. He called me back. That's it.
Right.
He likes me. That's all. That's it. There was no other criteria of or thinking, does this person really want to get to know Drea? You know what I mean? I ended up taking care of this guy for 4 years, basically, and I wanted to, motivate him and fix him and change him because he was so broken. And I thought, if I do all that, he's going to reward me, and he did not. He didn't love me anymore. It just made things harder. And turns out he was just basically in love with his ex-girlfriend entire time we were together. Yeah. So, I really fought for that relationship to my own detriment until I woke up.
So when did you know that this relationship was problematic? You said he was like a walking red flag. I think sometimes we throw around this term quite easily. Yeah. So what were some of the red flags without getting into too much personal detail?
Well, one, he drank too much. I mean, that was like sign number one in the relationship, but I'm sober. So he had said to me, meeting me was a sign, and then he was going to start to get sober. So I believed that. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like, we knew some of the same people. Ironically, I knew his ex-girlfriend. Like, her number was in my phone.
Oh, wow.
So crazy. Yeah. And I'll tell you about that story later. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to help this guy. Then he lied to me about smoking. He lied to me about his background. He had some childhood trauma, maybe a couple felonies. But the thing about him, I will say, is that within like 3-4 weeks, he was like, Drea, you are way too good of a woman for me. And I don't know if this was like a game, but he was like, I am not good for you. Like, I see that you're a good person. Get away from me.
So he was telling you. He was telling you.
Oh,
yeah.
Very clearly. He's like, Drea, stop. I have the text messages. He's like, leave me alone. Like, you do not need to be anywhere near a guy like me. And all I heard was, are you free on Thursday? Like,
oh my God. We talk about this, the internal translator of
seriously. I was like, no. It's okay. I'm going to, like, you're just a broken bird. And
let me fix
do all these things.
People usually tell you. Like at least I'm thinking
he
about
told
my
me.
experiences and
Mhm.
like every single one of them that did was kind of similar, like situations that you're like, this person is not ready for a relationship. They are unavailable. They
No,
tell you. You just choose not to
they
listen.
tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Well, as a fixer, you want to show the person how good you are for them.
Yes.
You want to show them that this life could be so amazing with me in it.
And I blame
And
Yeah,
rom-coms
and I
for
just
that because that's like
yeah.
what, right?
yes,
They're like, oh, well, you meet this
yes.
person that has a challenge and then you come into their life and it's all turned around. And we've internalized a lot of that.
And he's going to magically get sober. He's going to magically be emotionally available. He could not articulate his feelings in any way. And the thing that, I used to get really down on myself was just the behavior that I accepted
Yeah.
and the things that I allowed in my life. I mean, I was doing so much for this guy, and it just was a testament to how broken I was at that time. I didn't see my value. I didn't see my worth. I didn't see like what a great person I was. And I don't say this to toot my own horn, but later on I was like, wow, like I am a catch.
Yeah.
And this is not a reflection anymore about how I feel about myself. And that began the journey of me wanting to separate from him. Now, ending things in a relationship is really hard for me. So that dance went on for about a year and we were living together. And I
Wow.
knew, I woke up one day and I was like, Drea, this is not your person. And from then on, it just was like separation, separation, separation. And it was really difficult because he thought I was never leaving him.
Yeah.
Everyone thought I was never leaving him. And then I was like, no, you got to get out.
So 4 years.
Yeah.
It sounds like the last year you kind of had this wake up call. What was like the 3 years? Like, I guess, how was that relationship for you? Like, when did you abandon yourself in it? I guess, how did you get to that breaking point of like, it's time for me to leave?
I think the 3 years of just processing that he did not love me. I mean, honestly, the turning point was my sister passed away and he did not come to the funeral.
Oh,
That
What?
was
Reason?
yes, he did not come to the funeral. Honestly, I don't really know. He was just like, you're going to be focused on your family. And I remember even his sister was like, Dre, why are you with my brother? Like, honestly, like, and this is so awful. But like the night my sister passed, like I needed him to chat with him. And he had a friend's birthday to go to. And he was like, I'm going to go take a shot. I'll call you back. And I was like, okay. I was like, we're done.
right.
Like we're actually done. Like this relationship is over. And I already knew it was over, but that was like the nail in the coffin. And then I was away for about a month and the way he treated me, our conversations were always really hard. There wasn't a lot of like space for my grieving. There wasn't a lot. So I was already like, the seed was already planted throughout that year. And then that's when things really escalated. And I was like, yo, this is done. This is over. And then I couldn't look at my friends and my family anymore because they were like, Drea, I mean, come on. So then it was just a mission of getting him out of my home at that point. I was like, you got to get out.
That's usually the most telling experience is when you as a fixer, you're there for him to fix and to help and to be there.
Do anything.
But then when you need him and he abandons you, that's when it's very clear that this is a one-sided relationship.
He did not have the capacity in any way for me.
I think especially in hard times like that, you really see who's there for you versus who's not, and especially your significant other. I think that makes a ton of sense. So 3 years leading up to that, though, were you like, everything is good and all my friends and family don't really know? Or like, what was going through your mind?
Yeah.
No, I mean, this guy he was bad from the jump.
Okay,
it was
so you always
bad.
knew. You always knew.
I always knew. I always knew.
Even he knew.
And listen,
everyone knew.
Yeah, he knew. Everyone knew. He was constantly, we were break up, make up, break up, make up, break up, make up for the whole time. And everyone would say, what season is this of you and so, you know? And I feel like COVID brought us back together. We were broken up.
Sounds like my story.
He gives me a call.
Yeah, does.
Gives me a little ring, a couple days in. He's like, why don't you just come over here just so you're safe? And I go, no. Okay. And then that was it. And then like that started us living together for 2 years in Orange County. And I remember when we moved in together, I was like, are you ready for this? Like, do you think that we're really going to, build a foundation? He goes, oh, I don't know. I mean, I probably not, but it's kind of up to you. And I go,
what?
Okay, let's sign here. What? Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I just was not thinking. I just wanted to like do this thing and live with someone and just check all the boxes. And it wasn't really about the content of my relationship. And so
Mhm.
we moved in together. It was great for about 2 weeks. We would always have 2 week pockets. He'd stop drinking. We'd really focus on each other.
Julie,
It was
yep.
great. Then he'd go play golf and all the fucking wheels were off. You know what I mean? It's just, it's done. So that was our pattern for about 2 years. And then that last year we moved back to I moved back to LA and he moved with me. And then things really fell apart at that point. Yeah. But the drinking was a huge factor. The verbal abuse during the drinking, you know, it was really tragic and it was never good. By the way, we lived together for like 6 months and no one knew. I lied about it.
Oh my God.
Like I couldn't even
because
tell
you were
people.
ashamed.
Yeah. They were like, are you guys living together? And I was like, no.
So after this relationship, have you had relationships since?
I did have one relationship right after, a few months after. And, you know, again, there were signs, but I ignored them. He was very sweet to me in the beginning. And then it just turned and it was, I thought I was doing better. I thought I was doing better. And I don't know if anyone listening can relate to this, but I did that thing where I was like, I'm totally fine. Like I know my blind spots now. Everything is good, you know, and I was maybe I was a little too confident. And then somebody kind of swooped in there and it's like, you don't know until you have to apply the lessons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then it shows up and you're like, dang, I'm not passing this test at all. And I was ready to let this situation go at any time. But then I crossed what I call that invisible line where like, I really like someone and now I'm entangled and I don't know how I'm going to get out.
Oh.
I'm chilling. I'm coasting. We're hanging out. We're not hanging out. I don't even care. And then one day I wake up and I'm like, oh no.
How did I get here?
So how long did that one go on for?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
Also very off and on.
Okay.
And once he turned and I saw his true colors, I was like, come on. But he didn't drink at all. So that was great. But mentally, he mentally was way more taxing than the other guy.
Damn.
Wow.
So still unavailable, just in different ways.
Yeah, like he did the push-pull thing where he was like, I don't want to let you go, but I don't want you to leave me either. Like, stay. I don't know if I can commit,
Right.
but I don't want you with anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
This breed of, I feel like, do women do this as much? Because I feel like it's always,
Yes.
Do you think it's women too?
Oh, yeah. I know plenty of toxic women who do the same.
So it's like you want, because I feel like the situations, at least I've been in, it's like in what sounds like what you're talking about, Drea, it's like they say they want it, but then aren't willing to do any of the work or like actually do it.
No work.
But they want the benefits.
They want everything to look like a relationship.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But think about it.
And I showed up for it.
If someone is like, I don't want to put in the work, but I'm gonna get all the benefits, and you give it to him, why would he leave?
Right.
Why would he leave? I showed up for it willingly. Willingly, I showed up for it. And, you know, we had really great chemistry. And I was very much blinded by that. I was so starved from the lack of passion I had had previously that this showed up in a way. And, you know, it's very easy to get blinded by that and just kind of dismiss a lot of the behavior. And, you know, I look back at it and I feel some shame around it, but I also just feel like, you know, that's where I was and I was growing. And what's so great about now is that the awareness is so different. It's so different. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still make some mistakes here and there, but you know, I don't see myself moving forward with someone who's like, hey, I'm a bright red flag. Drea, stop.
Yeah.
You tell me to stop or you're not available, I'm out.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, great. No problem.
I want to get to that transformation point because I think that's so important for people to hear. But I want to first pause and acknowledge how lonely it is to be in a place where you're in this toxic relationship. You're ashamed to tell your friends and family about it. You can't ask for help because you're the fixer. You're the one who's helping other people. And yet you're keeping the secret to yourself and from your friends and family. That is just like, I think the loneliest place to be because you can't even depend on your partner.
Yeah.
So I want to acknowledge that. And second, I want to acknowledge there's, you know, the show, The Bear. And I don't know if you watched it, but it's just like chaotic restaurant kind of setting. And the bear experienced this abandonment as a child. So the only way he thrives is in chaos. And he talks about how he loves this chaotic restaurant environment because he feels calm and peaceful and regulated in that kind of environment. So there's something
Yes.
there where, like you were saying, I almost feel like this, you got deregulated, but that felt normal. So also
Yes.
acknowledging that that was like kind of home base for you. So
Mhm.
what was the breaking point then for you to realize coming out of the second relationship that you need to break the pattern and stop abandoning yourself?
The emotional low I felt with this second relationship was so because I really believed that even though there were all these flags that we were going to be something, like I loved him. I loved him deeper than the 4-year guy for sure.
Mm.
Cause we had a friendship base and that really just, it wasn't like we dated and then we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Like we were like friends, we laughed and really connected. And so the loss of that was really difficult. But I think me chasing all the time was the breaking point for me. And I thought to myself, I can't do this anymore. Like we had one of our fights and he would just disappear. He wouldn't talk to me for 8 days, come back like nothing happened. If I brought anything up, I was gaslit, manipulated, all the things. I'm crazy, let it go. And I remember one day I was just like, I was in the fetal position crying on the ground. And I thought, this has got to stop. And I think the biggest thing for me, and I always, I talk about this on my show too, is like accountability. Because it's so easy for me to be like, he did this and he did this and he didn't, whatever. And I'm like, Drea, like, where am I green lighting all of this? I'm saying,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, bring it on. Are you don't want to really be with me? Sure, let's keep hanging out. Oh, you keep gaslighting me. And now if I see any signs of yelling, you're hanging up in my face, I'm telling you my feelings. And now when I'm dating, it's like when there's that first moment of discord, it's like I put the boxing gloves on. I'm like, okay, let me see what he's about to show up with. Because if I'm like, hey, and I watch my tone, I'm very clear about my thoughts. I've thought about it. And if they cannot receive that, I'm done. Because I'm like, you cannot tell me the sky is yellow and I'm telling you it's blue, right? And we're going, and I'm like, and you're messing with my mind. So there was a lot of mind stuff where I felt crazy. I felt actually crazy. And I was like, I am done with this. And I really wanted some clarity in my relationships. And like you said, to your point of, the bear, I thrived in that chaos. I know how to
Yeah.
navigate in that. But if you're just calling me back, showing up, I that's a little like I got to navigate that a little differently. And now I embrace that. And yes, is it like not as stimulating for my nervous system sometimes? No, it's like, okay, he's there, whatever. Okay, cool. But I'm like, no. Anything is better than that. And I love myself more today too. So that has changed everything as well.
I know you mentioned that you things with your father, you got to a better place. How did that timeline line up with your romantic relationships?
Acceptance is the answer to all of my problems. So today, my dad is not where I would like him to be. He does not respond to me like I would like him to respond all the time. But, I'm from Texas and, your elders and that hierarchy of respect is a major thing. So, my mom would always say, you only get one dad, you only get one mom. Now, look, at one point, I couldn't speak with my dad because it was feeling toxic. And I will respect my boundary and my space and say, hey, I'm taking a step back. But now I enjoy my dad as he is. And I'm sober now. So my dad is not. And I just had to say, when I'm with my father, I don't need to try to control his life. He doesn't have that space of warmth that I need, which I'm still working through. And that's a really honest thing for me to say because it's vulnerable. And I seek that out with men, that coddling that I wanted someone to just kind of see me as as a person to say, hey, like, I got you. I care about you.
Yeah.
Did you make it there safely? And he's just not going to do that. And it's okay. So I have to watch that when I'm in relationships because I have to give it to myself,
Well, you can see how much this stuff affects who we pick as partners. It really does follow us
sure.
in. When you made this acceptance of this is my dad, I'm going to take it for what it is. Was this after the breakup or how did those timelines correspond?
They kind of crossed over a little bit. I'd say, like, as I'm on this journey of accepting that this is no longer what I want these relationships to look like, that did include my dad too.
Okay.
And I remember hanging out with him, and I just said, I looked at him, and I also look at my dad as like a little kid. Like, my dad didn't get the love
Yeah.
that he needed either.
Right.
So he wasn't exactly able to give a lot to, 3 girls. He doesn't have it. And once I was able to kind of like see the little boy in him, I was able to like really move past that. Now, is that wound still there? Yeah, it's there. Do I talk to my dad and I'm 7 years old sometimes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to hear certain things from him,
Yeah.
And he's gotten better. He's doing the best that he can with the tools that he chooses to access. Right.
Yes.
That's the best he could do. But there was some crossover. And the thing is, I had to just choose Drea. I abandoned myself so much. I say yes all the time. I'm triple booking myself, trying to make it so everybody else is happy. And finally, I was like, I don't deserve this behavior anymore. And I don't have to accept this behavior from my dad all the time either. I go into it, I kind of have to have like a shield. And I'm like, okay, dad, no problem. And then I kind of got to go like replenish myself on my own. And so now picking a partner, it's really important that I have someone who has that softness. I cannot date a hard man who's like alpha male,
Yeah.
no emotion. Like, I can't do it. And I'm
That's
very clear about
insightful.
that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you hold both to be true? Because this is where I'm struggling with the challenge is your relationship with your father is different. You can't leave your father. You can't be like,
No.
none of this behavior, we're done. You've
Yeah.
chosen not to abandon your father, and you've chosen to accept him, and you've chosen the Mel Robbins of let them, right?
Yes.
And then with a partner, you can't exactly do that. You can't just be like, let them do their thing. I accept you. This is the best you can do. How do you hold both to be true? And how do you draw the line with your partner of what you expect out of him?
Like I said, with my dad, I have to let him. He's a grown man. My dad is doing the best he can. I'm his daughter. I really cherish the time that I get to spend, especially now experiencing loss of my sister. It's definitely changed things. There was some acceptance things I wish I could have got to work through with my sister. So that really shifted things with me and my dad. I was like, this is what I'm getting. Okay. My dad's, I live in California. My dad's in Texas. I appreciate those moments with him, and I take the good nuggets. I basically buffet my dad. I take what I like. I leave.
But you can't do that with a partner.
Right.
Yeah. So
You
how do you?
cannot do that with a partner. I mean, look, with a partner, it's more about the dance of compromise, right? So I have my non-negotiables and I have my things that I'm like, I cannot function and be my best self without these things. And I know my triggers. So if I'm with someone and my 7-year-old is screaming for help, I'm like, this is not a match for me. Because I've definitely been with men where like, I'm affectionate. I need it. And I also have to be clear sometimes about like what's mine and what's theirs and then what's ours. Like, that's very important too. Because sometimes it's like, Drea, this is your stuff. This is not his to figure out. But it's like, if I'm having to decipher if he likes me or what does this mean, or if I'm confused, like, I can't.
No.
I was dating a guy for a little while and I really liked him, but he was a little stoic. And for him, however he chose from his childhood, whatever, this is how he relays that he likes somebody. So I was like, buddy, is this it? Like, is this the hype? Because like, this ain't gonna work for me. You know what I mean? Like, is this you really liking me? Because I have this idea in my head of like, if you really like somebody, I'm like, these things usually work out this way. And for him, that was it. And I knew that wasn't going to work. Now, if it's something like, hey, babe, you can't wear those shoes. Like, you got to throw those shoes out. Like, just stuff like that, like I can work with. But those core things of like how we operate, how you handle discord. Can I come to you and say, hey, that really bothered me? And if I'm not yelling at you and you're not gaslighting me, I'm going to be able to work with you. But those are the most important things to me. And then there's certain things I can work on. But at being clear about my non-negotiables has helped me date moving forward now. But you tell me you're not available, I am gone so fast. Hanging up the phone. You're like, hello?
Good.
I'm like,
so how did you get to this place? Like, you mentioned 12-step program, you mentioned therapy. Like, what was like kind of the way that this all clicked of like, I deserve more. These are my non-negotiables.
Yeah. A lot of writing down my part. That for me really changed a lot of stuff. realizing, yes, I have had some trauma with my childhood, but like at a certain point, and this was also a big thing too, like not blaming my dad and my parents and all the things anymore. Cause it's like, okay, like that seed, I got that. I got why I was attracted to these people. But the more work you do and the more awareness you have, you're like, okay, my agency is still here. Right. So I know what I'm drawn to, but now I have to go through that discomfort period of dating somebody who is available. And let me tell you, it's fucking uncomfortable. I had a guy just show up. There was nothing to worry about. There was nothing to wonder. He said he was calling at 7. At 7, he's like, oh, and I'm like, like it was, whoa. And I remember like, I had to work with that. It was not super comfortable for me because there was nothing to do. There was nothing to, and it opened up all this time because if I'm focused on you, and if you're calling, if you're going to make plans, there's nothing for me to do, right? Like I don't have to worry about myself. I don't got to worry about my life. But then if somebody's just consistently there, we're making plans, I know what's going on, then I get to still focus on Drea. And I'm like, oh, whoa, that's kind of scary because I'm like running from myself essentially, and these relationships that are healthy and fulfilling, they allow me that space and energy to still have my own life and do it because I'm not worried about what he's doing or if he likes me or what's his text mean. I can say, hey, babe, I don't understand what you meant by this. And we can just have a nice, normal conversation. It doesn't have to be some like, oh my God, I have to ask him this or I have to tell him this. Is he going to flip out on me? There was none of that. And now today I receive that. And through the 12-step programs, through therapy, lots of therapy, of shout out to my therapist. That's how I was able to get there. But without that, I would have never been able to do that.
And if it's okay asking, when you say the 12th step, is that Al-Anon or what was it a different one?
Well, I'm an AA, and then there is SLAW.
Okay.
There's Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, and that program really helped me. It's a relationship program, and people hear SLAW and they think, oh, it's a bunch of sex addicts, it's a bunch of it's this and that. If you use anything to the point where you can't manage your life, whether it's gambling, shopping, exercising, relationships, it becomes your everything. You might need to take a step back and look at, what's going on. Like, not making appointments, canceling plans with friends, putting yourself in danger, SLAW might be something for you.
Yeah, we had another guest recently.
We did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were like calling it SLAA, and then we're like, oh, it's SLAW. I didn't even know.
SLAW, yeah.
You're not the first time.
Yeah. It saved my life, really.
This is also the second time I'm hearing this observation, which Julie, you and Heather on a previous episode that we recorded, we're also saying like sometimes we choose problematic people to run away from our own problems. And I just wanted that to sink in again because this is brought up the second time now on our show. But the question a lot of people have is, when do I know this is a behavior pattern? And when do I know this is just some data points for me to look at? What I mean by this is like, at what point do you know it's a problem? Or is it just bad luck? You dated some toxic people.
Right. I think for me, it became a matter of like losing myself completely. So it's like anything that you do that you can't stop, right? Like it takes you over. And it's like, I will do anything to get the text. And I would like essentially like black out. It's like I'm like a different person. No one can tell me anything. And it's the same as like a drug addict or a person who wants to go drink. There's nothing that's going to stop them. When people are like, oh, you were drinking too much, why don't you just stop drinking or whatever? It's like your brain does not compute. Just stop talking to that guy. Oh, gee, thanks, whatever. And when they text you, when they call you, and whatever you're doing, you're gone, you may need to look at your behavior, right? And it's not like, oh, this happened one time. This was happening multiple times. And I don't know these men that well. I'm attaching myself to people without knowing them. That's a major thing. Like, what do you really know about this person? Other than that, they're a human being and you're attracted to them.
Right.
But what do you know about them? Why are you changing your entire life for this person? And also people are telling you, hey, this isn't a good idea. Hey, this isn't a good idea. Hey, you need to look at this. And everything in your life that's important falls to the wayside. Now, this is happening over and over and over again. Now, it's not about the honeymoon phase. You start dating someone, you're like, hey, girl, give me like a couple weeks. I just met somebody. It's not about that. You feel it. It's this like almost like this vulture-esque feeling. I mean, anybody listening, if you know, it's like you're attached to your phone. You feel it in every part of your body. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. And if that is happening to you over and over and over again, this is something you need to look at. And it becomes your whole world.
Yeah.
Not getting a text back is the end of your day. Or getting a text starting with good morning, chipper mood, everything's great.
Right.
But everything is dependent upon them. You have no agency of your own unless it's about this other person.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, and now today, God, thank baby Jesus, like that is not my life today. That is not my life today. Now, listen, I'm not saying if I don't get a text that I don't get a little like dysregulated, but it doesn't stop my day. I still go to work. I still go to a workout. I still eat my food. I still show up for my friends and family. That was not the case years ago. I'm in the bed, passed out. They're like, Dre, you met him a week ago. I'm like, I know. I thought he was
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to dive into this even more, but before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our partners. I mean, I definitely had that shift because I feel like I used to very much resonate with what you're saying of like getting very dysregulated if, you know, I didn't get that response. And it did take me breaking up with my on again, off again relationship that has a lot of similar patterns of what you've described here, and then realizing like I had self-abandoned myself a lot in this relationship.
Yes.
And then there was this point where it was like, okay, I actually just didn't date for a bit. This was also over COVID. And then there got to this point where I had like a very different mentality of like, okay, I've only met this person for an hour. Like they seem great, but like I don't know them and I'm not going to let them like impact me. And I'm trying to like think of like how that shift fully happened. And it's hard to like pinpoint sometimes. But like for you, I guess like when you were in that shift of now I'm like, okay, I'm leading with my needs at the forefront. I'm not going to like do this anymore. I guess like have you had any times that you were kind of tested and how did you like handle that?
Yeah, I was actually tested not too long ago, actually. And I shared at a meeting, I was so proud of myself. You know, I don't triple double text anymore. I don't do that. You know, the thing is, if you double text me, maybe I'll throw a double text in there. But like if I said, hey, how's it going? Good morning. And I don't hear from you all day, I'm not saying anything. I'm like, okay. And now my favorite thing is to go, okay, you tell me something. Okay. I'm not going to ask you a million questions. I'm not going to ask you why. Why can you do something else? No. My thing is I give you information about how I feel about something. And whatever you decide to do with that information, no problem. So what I did with this person, I said, hey, how was your day? He's like, great. I said, hey, listen, so your response time today for me doesn't work. Now, if that is how you'd like to communicate, no problem. But 11-hour response time, that dysregulates me and I can't show up as my best self in a situation like this. So I think it's best that maybe we do something else because we aren't in alignment in our communication. I don't even know who that was. I was like, wow, listen to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was even like, oh my gosh. Like he had nothing to say because he was like, you know what, Dre, you're absolutely right. That was a really long time. I could have gotten back to you sooner. And I said, you know what the thing is though? I just want you to do whatever feels natural for you. I don't want anybody setting an alarm. Yeah. I don't need you to like, oh, I got to text Drea. I go, the moment you feel obligated to text me, well, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want any man looking at my name going, oh my God, I got to, no. Forget it. Leave me alone. I want you gone. So I was able to show up for myself in that moment. Yes. And it was, but I was so tested. Of course, all day I'm like, you know, looking at my phone because I'm not perfect, right? It was bothering me, but I didn't let it ruin my day. And I didn't send him a bunch of messages. And I didn't even, when he did message me, I wasn't like, hi, what were you doing? Like, I didn't do any of that. I was like, hey, how's it going? You have a good day? Wonderful. Listen, this ain't working for me.
Right.
And wish you well. Like, go find you a woman that you can text, 18 hours later.
Right.
Good for her.
It's not for me.
It ain't me.
Yeah, not
it
for
ain't
me.
for me. No.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I'm just like, there was so much in that I'm trying to process because you even said I had to show up for myself.
Yeah.
And I've said that before and I've heard people say that before. And it just dawned on me that when you show up for yourself, you're actually speaking up for yourself. You're representing yourself. And I think about the time, Julie, when I was trying to track down the guy that ghosted you.
Yeah.
on Bumble. I set up like a fake profile. I was trying to trap this
Oh
dude.
my God, I love it.
And I was trying to think of all the ways I would confront him if I were ever to see him because he had hurt my friend. And it was just, they had
Yeah.
set up this third date and then he kind of ghosted. And I was like, I would say she was really looking forward to seeing you. And you two had made plans and then you just ghosted. Like, you really need to explain yourself. But then I would never say that if I were representing myself, right? Like, why would I never stand up for
Mm.
myself in the same way
Yeah.
I would do for a friend? So when you just said that, represent and show up for yourself, that's the way we should be doing it, is how you would do it for a good friend.
Totally.
Exactly. Even the way that I speak to myself sometimes, I get hard on myself and I'm like, man, I would never say this to a friend. Like I
Right.
would never say these things,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it's been a journey to speak positively to myself. But what always helps, and I don't know if this can help anyone, but like, I imagine that 7-year-old, because that's like when my dad left. So like, that's my inner child. And she's standing there with a blanket and a teddy bear. And she's like, love me. And I used to go on dates as my 7-year-old self. But now I go on dates as my adult self. And I said, hey, I got you. I'm going to take care of you. But we would both be there like, are you going to take care of us, sir? Like, what's his name? Doesn't matter. Like, here's all my baggage. But now I show up for her and I imagine her when I'm speaking to myself, when I am going on dates. And I'm like, what if I had a daughter and my daughter's sitting there texting some dude 86 times? I just wouldn't want that for her.
Right. I like
and I
that.
understand and I allow for the feelings. One thing I don't like, and I really want to say this on the show today, it's like, I hate it when people tell you not to feel those things.
Yes.
F him, babe.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Who
Yeah.
cares? F that guy. Block him. We're all so
Nope.
quick to block
Right.
and ghost and all these things.
So
and
true.
it's like, no, I went on a few dates with this guy and I like him. That's okay.
Yeah.
He did not text me back and I'm having some feelings. To all those friends who are like, babe, who cares? Girl, I care.
Right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
And I'm allowed to care for today. It's not a month later and I'm talking about it. It just happened today. So allow me my feelings. Me and my inner child are, we're a little dysregulated, but I'm still going on with my day. So that was really important for me to say today, because that's something that I really think is important too, allowing people to have that space to have their experience. Like it's okay. You know?
Thank you for saying that. Because I think like a lot of times dating gets like brushed under the rugs. It's not a real relationship. And it's like, it still hurts. It's still painful. And it's like also the dating trauma when it accumulates. It's not just like that one date that didn't work out. It's like, then we start to go there. So I'm glad that you addressed that, because we sometimes put up these Instagram posts. We get similar comments like, oh, you don't need to respond. Like, just block them. Who cares?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you truly can feel that way, good for you. But a lot of us cannot. So it's like a lot of us want the closure, or a lot of us want to feel what we're feeling. So thank you.
Exactly. I was ghosted by someone a year ago, like in a real way. Just literally, we were in Vegas on a Monday, Tuesday, ghosted. Never heard from the guy again. Okay. Wow. And the amount of people that were like, you dodged a bullet. Who cares? La, la, la. Like immediately, I'm like, y'all, like I was dating this guy.
Right.
Like he disappeared.
Right.
Like this is not
normal.
This is crazy making. Yeah. Like, let me have my feelings. Like, Jesus, I don't understand,
So I want to talk about what you brought up earlier about kind of like how you had this one relationship, the 4-year relationship that, you knew was toxic. You knew you were with someone unavailable. You knew you were abandoning yourself. And then you got into that next 1-year relationship. And I think that can feel like a backslide to a lot of people hearing that, because like, I think I've been there before too. It's like, you think you've like gone to that, like gotten over it. And then you're like, oh, here I am again. But I actually don't think it's a backslide. I think you need to have the experiences you have, and you usually show up differently. And like, clearly you exited after a year, not 4 years. So that is progress, right?
Exactly.
So I just want to like address that piece, because I think sometimes when we have these bad experiences, we think, okay, now that I've resolved it, I'm going to choose like different people and everything's going to work out. What was kind of your experience like with that? I don't even like using the word backslide, but like, here we are again experience.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with that was I was able to, thank God, to see the changes, which were, I didn't stay in this for 4 years, right? So And as you continue to grow and stay on that journey, then the next guy was only a few months. And then the next guy is a few weeks.
Right.
I see those red flags and I'm out, you know?
Yes.
So there were definitely things in the beginning, and then some things you over index because you're so like, I got this. And then, you know, it's like, it kind of comes out sideways. Like I was ready to leave that guy any second in the beginning. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You don't want to do this? No problem. And he'd be like, no, wait. And I hate that dance. We all get so like stimulated by that. If you're going to leave me, I got to like go get you. And then I get you and then I don't want, it's just it's really crazy making, and finding a partner who is so evolved past that. It's like, shout out to us who are out here dating. I mean, it's actually crazy. I just hate the dance. But yeah, so there were definitely moments where I was really sad. And like you said, Julie, it was the culmination of everything. It's like, yes, I was crying about him, but I was also just crying about my history. I was like, how am I here again?
Right.
Like, what? This guy is being crazy. And then I'm already so emotionally entangled with him. And I also got to watch the language, right? I'm like, I always get here. I always do this. I can't leave when it's this. And it's like, sometimes you don't even know the differences that have been happening in your life where you're like, wait a second. No, this has changed for me. Like, this sentence is no longer true. And so, yes, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't 4 years. And then also I was able to just be done with it.
Right.
It took me a while, but I was able to be done with it and like actually be done with it. And that in the past was not a thing, but I was able to write it down. I do a lot of writing, and it's like, what in this was different than my past relationships? How did I abandon myself? How did I not abandon myself? And my big things for me, and it may not, you know, it may sound like so simple to normal people, but when you have real like trauma responses to these relationships where you feel addicted to them, getting out of bed and eating and going to the gym was major for me. Like, I couldn't believe I was able to do that. Like, breaking up was death. Breaking up meant I'm dying.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't care how long we were together. I don't care anything. We broke up. I'm dead.
Yeah.
But now I was like, life goes on. People don't work out. It's okay. Yes, I loved him. This is going to hurt for a bit, but there's going to be light at the end of this tunnel. There was a time where it felt like it was always going to be a storm.
Right.
Like there was just no getting out of it. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm going to feel my feelings. But my biggest thing is motion changes emotion.
Ooh,
Get
I
out
like
of the bed,
that.
go feed my cats. Let me get some sunlight. Let me get a little sandwich. Let me not sit. And listen, some days I do need to sit in my room all day.
Right.
But I know if it's just that day and a half, I'm going to order some bad food, watch some movies, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my thing. But this isn't the end of the story, right?
Yeah. The time boxing.
Like the sun will shine again.
Yes. And knowing that life will go on, that it's not all consuming for you anymore. I think something else you said that showed progress in that second relationship was that I think when you are stuck in old patterns, you focus on features and not the characters of a person. So the old Drea could have said, oh, this new one is not an alcoholic, so he's a better choice, right? Like, I'm already doing better because he's not an alcoholic, and ignore all the character signs of someone who's toxic. But in that one, you were able to be very clear that, yes, there's a feature change, but I haven't traded up in terms of character of this person. So I need to get out. And that's a major finding, I think, when you're progressing and trying to figure out your patterns. In this transition, what have you had to unlearn from your past? Stories, messages about love, dating, relationships?
I'd say the biggest thing I had to unlearn, which I mentioned at the beginning, was that love is a struggle and you really got to work for it. It has to be hard or it doesn't mean anything. God forbid someone shows up and goes, wow, Jerry, you're freaking awesome. I'm down. I just want to do this. Yeah. That did not make sense to me. But now I look at myself in the mirror and I'm a great girlfriend. I'm a great partner. I am thoughtful. I am loving. I will show up for you. I am ride or die, unless it involves like jail or something. But you know what I mean?
I have a line.
I'm not going to jail for you, babe, but I'll put money on your book. But, you know, I had to unlearn that love has to be hard. And then also I had to unlearn that I do not need to know why a person is acting X, Y, and Z. I'm going to take the information and I say, okay, like you didn't call me. Okay.
That's
You didn't feel
huge.
the need to. I don't really care why you didn't. You didn't.
Right.
So great. And if you don't want to explain it to me and you're just moving over on things, and I watch things now and I'm like, ooh, that felt weird. Okay. Sometimes you put an asterisk and then sometimes I bring things up and I'm like, if I bring my feelings to this person and they act a certain way, this is not my person.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to be able to, because before it's like, I didn't really think about that stuff. I would just say it. They gaslit me and I'm like, oh, this is just normal. And it's like, it's not normal. We're adults. Like, we're going to have discord. We're going to have moments that are uncomfortable in a relationship. That's part of a relationship. And if you're that guy who's like, oh, you got something to say. I'm like, okay, this is really low budget and juvenile. And I don't want anything to do with it. I want my partner to be like, hey, is everything okay? Do we need to talk? And one of the things I do now when I'm with somebody is I do bi-weekly check-ins. I pick a day, we have a time, and I'm like, hey, babe, is there anything that I did this last few weeks? Is there anything you want to talk about that you need to unpack? Are you feeling a certain kind of way? And I think those moments are really important versus like holding stuff and oh, I want to say this, but I don't. So it's like, hey, we have an hour. Let's get naked. Emotionally, what's going on? How are you feeling about us?
And this is even with people that like you are just starting to date, or like what's like kind of
mean, if we have established that we're just dating each other, yes, I do want to do a check-in, especially in the beginning, because I just want to get that ball rolling and that language around like, how are you feeling?
Totally.
Right? And like, and a lot of people are like, no one's ever done this before. And I'm like, listen, I'm really working on myself. And I think these check-ins are so important because it does allow people to like, you know what? This is bothering me actually.
Totally.
And taking that intentional space for it, I think can really change your relationship. As long as everybody's open to hearing, because that's the thing too. You got to like be able to hear what comes at you. And maybe you don't agree with it, but I always take a pause. I'm like, I don't understand this, but okay, let's unpack it, baby.
I love it.
Here, you know?
I mean, it sounds
So
like
mature.
you're so like level of what you're looking for. And I love that because I think sometimes what happens, we've had guests or talked to people where you kind of swing to like finding every last red flag. So you like get hyper focused because you don't want the same thing to happen. And from what you're saying, the red flags that you're looking for are legit red flags. It's not like, oh, their shoes suck. It's like, are they going to blow up at me if I like, bring something up, which are the actual red flags. How do you like strike this balance and what green flags are you looking for now?
The green flags I'm looking for now are just hands down consistency. That is so, if you say something and you just forget it, you don't do it, I don't like that. Now I know some people are just forgetful, and this may be my own hopeless romantic thing, but I just truly believe, and I think I'll take this to the grave. If you like somebody, especially men, they show up and they do it and they're clear. They are so effing clear. Every date I've been on, if a guy likes me, he's like, when can I see you?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you doing this week?
Yes.
It's not this like, let's circle back. Let's touch base at the end of the week. And, let's see what's
my people call your people.
Schedule. Right. I'm like, what is this, a conference call? You're going to circle back to me? Like, okay. Men are so clear. Can I come over? What's happening? This is what we're doing. These are the plans. And so to me, it's like, oh, I'm just not like that. And honestly, if I'm not like evoking that from you, then forget it.
Right.
Like that's what I want from my partner. And so I look for consistency. I look for intentionality. Like this man is being intentional with me. He's thinking about me. He wants to get to know me, like genuinely. And I also look for conversation dynamics because I'm a great listener and I don't fight people to talk. So like if a guy's interested and he's asking me questions, great. But if I'm starting to talk and it's like double dutch, I'm like, I'm like, okay, forget it.
Yeah.
Like you go ahead, knock yourself out. And then I don't hang out with that person again. Because I had a friend of mine say, sometimes men don't get a chance to talk and they don't feel heard. And I'm like, yeah, but there's another person on the other end of the date. This is a dialogue, not a monologue.
Right.
So listening to me, consistency. I really look at family dynamics, like, how are we talking about our exes? How are we talking about our mother? Like who are your friends?
Yeah.
What are your friends looking like? You know what I mean? That these things are things that I really look for now. Because in the past, I'm like, wow, all of his friends were drinking quite a bit and doing other extracurricular activities that I no longer participate in. And these are the people that I'm going to be around. Like, do I want this to be a part of my life too? So, and it's not, again, like this, it has to be like this perfect checklist, right? Maybe you got one little friend you've had since high school and he's just a little freaking weird. I can get over
Yeah.
that. But if the majority of your friends are raging alcoholics,
Yeah.
It says
it's probably
something.
like Drea.
It says something.
It says something. And and I think, like I said, I've complicated things in my past. I've made a lot of excuses. Well, he just, and if maybe, and now I'm just like, you said X, no problem. Okay. See ya. Gotta go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you strike that balance in similar vein? How do you strike the balance of setting your boundaries, speaking up for yourself, showing up for yourself, but then also not participating in cancel culture where you're like, you do this, I say no, or
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, or you're done. Like, you know, you can swing very much the other way as well.
Right. I think it's listen, it's definitely nuanced, okay? Especially if you like somebody and especially if they're really cute, girl, you know what I mean? You make a little couple concessions. I'm like, ooh, hold on now. You know what? It's okay. We'll figure it out. But I think I look for patterns. Like, I'm not unreasonable, right? So let's say you didn't call me all day and you were like, hey, Drea, the acknowledgement of it. How do you handle the fact that you didn't call me all day? And I am so clear, you guys. I'm so clear. I'm like, hey, this dysregulates me. I don't really want to participate in that. If that doesn't work for you, no problem. But I'm telling you all this from the jump. Communication is super important to me. Your word is important to me. Now, a man that's going to be my guy is going to say, oh, okay, this is what Drea, and also vice versa. I'm listening to what you like and don't like and all those things, And so it is a little nuanced. Like, I look for patterns, not these one-off situations. Hey, babe, I'm so sorry. Like, got caught up in X, Y, and Z. I understand this is important to you. That kind of language, okay, I can work with you. So I'm not just going to like, see you later. Yeah. Even if let's say that guy who didn't text me back for 11 hours, I didn't hear from him again. I'm still going to wrap that up for myself. I'll reach out and say, hey, can we have a chat? And if there's nothing there, thank you so much for your time, whatever, and I'm moving on. But that's for me. Yeah. Everyone's like, you don't got to wrap nothing up. F him. You don't owe him. I'm like, this is practice for me, especially when it's low stakes.
Yes.
Because then it helps in those higher stakes moments. I'm like, no, let me practice here because I really don't give a damn. You know what I mean?
Agree.
I'm just doing this for me. And formulating the text, the wording of it all. And it's scary to even still send it. I'm like, oh, but it's such good practice. And it also helps me. It's an esteemable act for myself because this is how I want to be treated.
Yes.
I'm letting the universe know. I don't subscribe to that ghosting, blocking. That is, it's a bunch of garbage to me. And I think honestly, it's emotionally immature.
Totally.
I do. Because we're just disposing of people and we really aren't thinking about the human experience. Yeah, maybe the guy's a jerk, but that doesn't mean I got to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Why do I got to match that? I don't want to do that.
I had the exact situation before I met my fiance. I was with this guy or dating this guy that like just couldn't make an hour. And I sent a text of like, I'm looking for someone that's going to prioritize me. Like if this isn't you right now and you're too busy, all good. Yep. And we've like put texts like that on Instagram and you do get a lot of people being like, why do you need to send that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's, you seem needy by sending it or manipulative. And it's like, the goal is not to get this person to agree and be like, change their ways.
Exactly.
The goal is to tie it up for yourself. And I'm so glad I sent that because it felt very liberating, first of all, to put my need out there.
Thank you.
Second, to close the door, tell someone like, hey, this isn't what I'm looking for.
Yes.
And then I met someone like right after that prioritized me that I never had to send that to. Or
Exactly.
And back to what Drea was saying, you change the algorithm for the universe.
Yes.
For the universe to be like, yeah, Julie doesn't want that. Yeah. So I'm going to give her less of that.
Right. It's like, I don't want this person that doesn't prioritize. And I think what I'm hearing from all your communication is like, there's nothing wrong if that's your way of doing things. It's just not for you. Like, that's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And even for all the people that listen and they go, oh, I got to block and da-da-da-da. I always say, good for you. then you can find other people that will just do those same things to you.
Right.
Right.
And nobody has to talk to anybody and nobody's got to feel anything. But I have feelings and I navigate them in a way where I can function in my life. I am not a just see you later. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do it in terms of like taking care of myself and moving on. I'm still going to have some feelings about it, but like, I don't need to just be like, I don't give a damn. I don't care about it. And I'm like, no, I do care.
Right.
I'm a person who cares.
Mhm.
I care.
I guess like if you could go back before we get to our takeaways on all this incredible conversation, but if you could go back to you during one of these toxic relationships when you were in the middle of it and tell yourself
Mhm.
like one thing, knowing what you know now, what would that be?
It's gonna get better and you're gonna get out of this. And I would say,
Yes.
stop playing small. Stop playing
Mm.
small because that's what I felt I deserved in the moment.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you said that, I have imagined myself patting myself on the back because I was working so hard.
Uh-huh.
Like I am the older sibling, you know, I come from a single parent household and I just had to push through, push through, push through, push through. And now it's like, it is important to me to have a partner that's nurturing. Like it is. I do so much. I do. And not that I don't want to nurture my partner because I do, but I do need somebody that can like be like, let me just lean my head on your shoulder. And they're like, hey, it's going to be okay. Like I need that.
That is
Mm.
such an important thing
Oh,
for people to hear. I mean, I think it goes into takeaways so well because I do think at the end of the day, we take the behavior that we think we deserve. And it took me a
yes.
Yes,
long
we
time to
do.
realize that. Like when I was
Yeah.
settling for these people that were flat out being like, I don't want to be in a relationship or an on again, off again, like the unavailable guy. And I think it's because, like you were saying earlier, it's like, I just wanted a relationship or I really thought this was the best I could get.
Right.
And a lot of this stuff is very deep rooted and, you know, it takes a lot of awareness to come out of it and be like, no, I actually deserve more. And I'm so glad that you were able to find that. Like, I think I'm sure there's so many listeners right now that resonate with this and hopefully this inspired them. But I think like the
Yeah,
biggest,
I do hope so.
absolutely. And I think the biggest takeaway I have too is like you said it earlier, like stop using these words like always and this always happens or, you know, like we
Mhm.
sometimes get stuck in like the past and it's so important to remember the progress we're making and progress doesn't always look like perfection. Like there might be that one day that you can't get out of bed and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that it's a month
Yes.
that you're doing this and like looking at how far you've evolved. I think that's so helpful for people to see that like nothing is forever and I can come out of it and I can change and it may look like baby steps. And if I go back to a situation that isn't great, it doesn't mean that I'm like forever doomed. It's just another learning
No.
experience. And I think we're all evolving all the time with relationships and ultimately dating, relationships, all of this is a mirror into ourselves. And the last takeaway I have is that it's never too early to start this relationship check-in. Like we talk about it more in
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
long-term relationships, but I love bringing this up earlier in dating. We hear all the time from people like, oh, it's too early to say this. I don't want to rock the
No,
boat. The way you've said everything, it's like, I'm just looking for information. I'm just looking for understanding. And again, like, I'm just using that to decide, like, is this someone I want to invest into? And I'm not trying to change people.
exactly.
And that's like really the
Nope.
biggest message.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are the definition of main character energy. And I think people can replay this episode as their dating sermon on a weekly basis. I truly believe that because you lead with so much of yourself and your healing journey. And the way you just described your whole transformation, it makes me want to summarize it in this way that we are all on this healing journey, and dating is our sandbox for us to practice our healing. And every interaction we have in dating, we can use that as an opportunity to practice our healing or to ignore everything we've learned. So why not choose the first option is to keep practicing.
Mhm.
And then eventually you find someone who's willing to keep practicing with you. And that's a relationship. That's a healthy relationship where both of you are practicing your own healing, but together in the sandbox.
Yes.
And
Oh,
there are
it's gonna be
no
so yeah.
expectations for outcomes, no expectations for what a relationship is supposed to look like. Because ultimately, as you described it, Drea, in this human experience of a relationship, we're just healing each other. That's it.
Yes.
Everyone's just
That's
healing.
it.
So thank
Exactly.
you This was a healing conversation for me.
Oh,
I'm sure for our listeners as well.
Absolutely.
If people want to hear more about you or find out more about you, where can they go?
please go to Hey Babe, Can We Talk, my podcast, where I talk about these things all the time and spill my guts on my dating life.
Love it.
Wonderful, Drea. Thanks for coming on our show and getting vulnerable and talking about your journey.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for this insightful and powerful conversation. If you liked this episode, why don't you give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts? And while you're on there, go on Drea's podcast, give her a rating and review as well, 5 stars. And in the body of your review, just tell us what was the one thing you learned from this episode that's going to change the way you date from now on. We love to hear from you. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. Stay
Dateable.
dateable.